Now that Britney Spears is finally free from her father's control in that 13-year-long conservatorship, she can actually speak without a filter and say how she really feels. More specifically, an insider has said that she wants nothing to do with Jaymie Lynn Spears. According to a claim from an insider close to Hollywood Life magazine, they said during an interview with the media source that Britney has no desire to fix her relationship with Jamie Lynn. During that interview, the insider said, "It's sad to say, but Britney isn't all that surprised that Jamie Lynn is using this opportunity with the media spotlight on their family to promote her own book." Then they go on to say, "Britney is continuously let down by her own family. It's sad because Britney has a heart of gold. All she ever wanted was to support her family before the conservatorship began. What saddens Britney the most is that Jamie Lynn isn't even using this opportunity to speak out in support of her." I mean, after everything from living in Britney's Florida condo to just not speaking up for her at all, how could you really blame Britney for not wanting to fix their relationship? That bridge was burned down by Jamie Lynn a very long time ago. In a recent post, Britney explained how she was happy to be free, but now fears making a mistake. In the Instagram caption, she writes, "I'll just be honest and say I've waited so long to be free from the situation I'm in, and now that it's here, I'm scared to do anything because I'm afraid I'll make a mistake. For so many years, I was always told if I succeeded at things, it could end, and it never did. I worked so hard, but now that it's here and getting closer and closer to ending, I'm very happy, but there's a lot of things that scare me." And then in the closing portion of her caption, she writes, "Lord have mercy on my family's souls if I ever do an interview. In the meantime, I'm staying clear of the business, which is all I've ever known my whole life, which is why this is so very confusing for me. Anyway, God bless you all." And it's nice to see Britney finally being able to put her family on blast like that and choosing how she wants to live her life. I mean, it's October and that caption was on a photo of a Christmas tree, so she's really just out here doing whatever she wants now, and if she does end up doing an interview, it should 100% be with 60 Minutes Australia, or like I've said many times before, just a single podcast exposing every single thing that her family did to her and didn't do for her. It's sad to see that she's essentially lost her family dynamic, but I suppose at this point she's had just about enough of her family. Another source claiming to be close to the situation told the Red Carpet Watcher site, "Britney is very, very angry and hurt. She feels like Jamie Lynn totally abandoned her and let her down in the fight of her life. They were best friends and everything to each other for so long. She's asked for support and feels like Jamie Lynn turned her back on her and couldn't be bothered. I suppose the only time will tell if these two sisters can make amends."
There's been a lot of ongoing drama within the Spears family because of Britney and the court case regarding her conservatorship, as well as the truth that has come out about what Britney's life is really like under the rules set by her father. Drama has started to unfold, bridges have been burned, and it's getting pretty messy. One of the people who's causing the most drama is Britney's sister Jamie Lynn, and today we're going to talk about the top 10 reasons Jaymie Lynn Spears needs to be stopped. At number 10, getting sued. For the past several weeks, we've been hearing new developments regarding Britney Spears and her conservatorship. The world is finally getting to see what things have really been like for the singer, and we're also seeing the role that her family has played in it. As you probably know by now, Britney's dad Jamie is her conservator, but on top of her father playing a huge role in how her life plays out, Britney's mother and sister have also influenced her life a lot, and Britney has since spoken out about them, saying that she wishes that she could sue her family. Though she didn't name anyone specific, I think it's safe to say that she means to sue all of the members in her family. In Britney's statement, she also went on to state that she wishes to, quote, "be able to share my story with the world and what they did to me instead of it being a hush-hush secret to benefit all of them," end quote. Clearly, Britney is upset because she's been holding back the truth for so long, and there must be some pretty damaging topics sprinkled throughout because Britney wants to discuss this with the world. Something surely went down and her family is keeping a secret, so they all need to be stopped, including Jamie Lynn. At number 9, fake support. Because Britney has gone through so much in her life, all she wants is some support. Though she gets support from her fans, the singer is probably left wanting support from her family. However, this isn't exactly what's been going on. After many details about Britney's conservatorship came to light when she provided her testimony, her sister Jamie Lynn stepped forward to make a statement showing her support for her older sister, saying, quote, "Since the day I was born, I've only loved, adored, and supported my sister. I mean, this is my big sister, before any of this BS. I don't care if she wants to run away to a rainforest and have a zillion babies in the middle of nowhere, or if she wants to come back and dominate the world the way she has done so many times before, because I have nothing to gain or lose either way. This situation does not affect me either way because I'm only her sister and only concerned about her happiness," end quote. Jamie Lynn only made this statement after she faced backlash from fans for not saying anything about her sister's situation situation, and even after making this forced statement, both fans and Britney herself called Jaymie Lynn out on her BS, showing that she doesn't really care about the situation and is kind of just playing a game. Now before I carry on with the rest of the list, I would like to ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and also check out my Jamie channel Viper Girl if you're interested in gaming content as well. I've got lots of fun stuff going on over there, so go head on over and subscribe while you're there. At number 8, performing Britney's songs. Tensions were high between Britney and Jaymie Lynn after Britney revealed her feelings about her sister performing her songs. This was in reference to a performance that Jaymie Lynn did in 2017 at the Radio Disney Music Awards, where she took the stage to perform a medley of Britney's songs while she watched from the audience. You can see how uncomfortable Britney looked watching her sister up on stage, and according to the singer, she was deeply hurt by this. Because of all this, Britney is fed up with performing because of how overly controlled she feels, and she has every right to be. Imagine being treated like all you are good for is performing and then not even being able to do that because your quote-unquote support system has taken over. Truly unfair. At number 7, Britney's estate. Even though Jaymie Lynn likes to claim that she supports her sister and that she's on her side, some court documents beg to differ. In 2018, Jaymie Lynn became a trustee on her sister's SJB Revocable Trust. This account was created back in 2004 to benefit Britney's kids, and after the filing was made in 2018, Jaymie became the one responsible for distributing the funds available to the kids in the event of Britney's death. This might not seem like much, but it is a large asset to be in charge of, and it begs the question, why Jaymie Lynn? Of all of the people to be trusted with this account, why her? Why is it that her family always has one hand in Britney's pocket at all times, while Britney herself can't do anything about it, even though they are her assets? Jaymie Lynn needs to be stopped because she shouldn't be able to have access to Britney's precious assets like that. She and her family have far too much power over Britney, and they need to be stopped. At number 6, receiving hate. Fans called on Jaymie Lynn to speak out about Britney's testimony and the drama going on with the conservatorship. When she did, she gave the people what they wanted, but instead of being praised for supporting her, she was instead subjected to a lot of hate online. Apparently, Jaymie Lynn was having people come to her and threaten her life as well as her family's life. This is 100% not cool, and you should never threaten anyone, but in this specific scenario, the threats that Jaymie Lynn and her family had been receiving are almost a wake-up call to do better. Since these actions were in response to how fake her support of her sister seemed to be, this almost shows us that if Jaymie Lynn continues down this path of being two-faced with her sister, she will hit rock bottom. A lot of fans really hate her right now because they were expecting a lot more compassion and support from Britney's sister, so at this point, Jaymie needs to be stopped not only for Britney's sake, but for her own as well. At number 5, Florida Condo. Between Britney and her family, there's a lot of drama, clearly, but a lot of it has to do with money and other expensive assets. One of the latest scandals going on with the Spears family regarding money has to do with a Florida condo that Britney allegedly bought in 2001 that Jaymie Lynn has been calling her own. Over the years, Jaymie Lynn has boasted and bragged about the condo, talking about how amazing it is, how many people can come over and whatnot, but it seems as though this has all been sort of a lie since it's technically not her condo to begin with. Now this is mostly speculation because there is no solid confirmation saying that Jaymie Lynn's condo is the one that Britney bought way back when, but it doesn't seem like a coincidence. On top of all that, fans have started calling Jaymie out on laying claim over Britney's condo. However, Jaymie Lynn has recently started denying having a condo in the first place. Something is off, but I'm sure fans will get to the bottom of it. At number 4, payroll. Now this one is a little rocky because no one really knows what to believe, but basically there were allegations that Jaymie Lynn was on her father's payroll. Court documents were released which detailed how Britney's father, Jamie, was using his status as his daughter's conservator to live off her estate. This means that he'd been paying himself a total of $16,000 a month for the last 12 years. We know for a fact that her father has been paying himself with Britney's money over the years, but what about the rest of the family? Well, it has been alleged that Jaymie Lynn has also been paid, though she has denied these allegations on Instagram. If she has been getting paid by her sister's estate, she really needs to be stopped. Money makes people so greedy, and if Jaymie Lynn is really mooching off her sister and pretending like everything is fine, someone needs to get to the bottom of this and demand accountability, because that's just going too far. You can't hold someone back from their personal property and let them watch you take it from them. damn, that is just downright nasty. At number 3, Free Britney comments. The Free Britney movement was started around a decade ago, so for years people have been looking to expose the truth about Britney's life and have been advocating for the singer for years. The movement has picked up in recent years and it's still as important as ever, however those in Britney's family don't really think so, and some criticisms have been made, particularly by Jamie Lynn. Back in 2019, when the Free Britney movement started to pick up steam, Jamie Lynn addressed the cause, calling it a conspiracy theory after word got around alleging that Britney was being held in a mental health facility against her will. Jamie Lynn just didn't want to take the Free Britney movement seriously, that is, until it got popular and she seemed to jump on the bandwagon and show her support. Again, like I've said, that is pretty sus, so I have to say that she needs to be stopped. Clearly she didn't care about what was going on with her sister, rumor or not, and she only started speaking out about her sister's situation because it became problematic to not defend the pop star. At number 2, obsessed with socials. This next one is just really odd to me, so I have to say that both Jamie Lynn and her husband need to be stopped because they're just becoming too obsessed with all of this drama. There is a photo out there that Jamie Lynn posted that shows her husband staring intently at a post from Britney's Instagram. Now I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with looking at Britney's posts, but there is something about the fact that Jamie Lynn's husband was so focused on the post, as well as the fact that Jamie Lynn has a tendency to go back and forth on her sister's post, leaving and changing comments all the time, that just seems a little bit off to me. It almost feels like they're head over heels obsessed with Britney and are looking for the next post to talk about or even a reason to argue. No one checks other people's social medias that often. Jamie Lynn has been caught changing her comments and photo descriptions so often that it's looking very suspicious and she needs to cut it out. And finally, at number 1, audio clip. In the latest Jamie Lynn and Britney development, we have this cryptic audio recording that Jamie Lynn posted to her social media that a lot of people think just took things unnecessarily too far. Jamie posted a black screen with audio where fans could hear her crying and her kid comforting her. Now this post was a super weird one for me because why would you take your phone out to record something like that in the moment, and 2, what compelled you to post that? There were a lot of red flags that fans pointed out, one of which was the fact that it seemed like Jamie Lynn was just looking for attention from the world and to show that this situation is also affecting her kids too. Now it very well could be the case, but this cryptic post just makes the whole situation seem a little too staged and a little too desperate.
We really need to talk about Jaymie Lynn Spears. Yes, she did come out and say that she supported her sister, but her recent behavior proves otherwise. After Britney put her on blast twice in less than 24 hours, Jaymie Lynn deleted her original IG caption and now everyone is calling her out on it. So if you didn't know, Britney and her sister Jaymie Lynn have been feuding with each other over Instagram in these last few days. However, recently the drama hit an all-time high and Jaymie Lynn was caught clearly backtracking and gaslighting her sister. The pressure was really put onto Jaymie Lynn to say something about this conservatorship last month when Britney told the judge that she wished she could sue her whole family, citing that they all did nothing to help her and only watched as she struggled under the control of her father. During her testimony she said, "I would honestly like to sue my family, to be totally honest with you. I also would like to be able to share my story with the world and what they did to me, instead of it being a hush-hush secret to benefit all of them. I'm told I'm not allowed to expose the people who did this to me." Notice how she kept saying all of them. That includes you too, Jaymie Lynn. Not too long after her bombshell testimony was released to the public, Jaymie took to her Instagram stories to deny that Britney was referencing her in those statements. She went on to say how much she adored and supported her sister, but if you watch the video, she seemed a little bit annoyed that she even had to make a public statement about this. This is evident when she acts very dismissive towards what her sister would do with her life if she was free. In her response she said, "Since the day I was born, I've only loved, adored, and supported my sister. I mean, this is my freaking big sister before any of this BS. I don't care if she wants to run away to a rainforest and have a zillion babies in the middle of nowhere, or if she wants to come back and dominate the world the way she has done so many times before, because I have nothing to gain or lose either way. This situation does not affect me either way because I'm only her sister who's only concerned about her happiness. It's the run away to a rainforest for me." Has she honestly even listened to what her sister has been asking for? She's really just saying, "Okay, I talked about how great she is, y'all, now can you leave me alone?" She went on to talk about how she was so proud of her sister for using her voice to speak about this conservatorship, but she seemed resentful of Britney's fans who have been advocating for her freedom for years. However, just days later, the feud feud between these two began. First, Britney shut Jaymie down by shading her on Instagram with this post and said, "Never forget who ignored you when you needed them and who helped you before you even had to ask." And on the caption of that post, Britney went in on all of the people who were supposedly close to her that stood by and did nothing. This one section though is clearly directed at her sister, where she says, "How dare you make it public that now you care? Did you put your hand out when I was drowning? Again, no. So if you're reading this and you know who you are and you actually have the nerve to say anything about my situation just to save face for yourself publicly, if you're gonna post something, please stop with the righteous approach when you're so far from righteous it's not even funny." Although the shade from Britney did not stop there. She hit back at her sister again with this post that said, "For those of you who choose to criticize my dancing videos, look, I'm not going to be performing on any stages anytime soon with my dad handling what I wear, say, do, or think. I've done that for the past 13 years. I'd much rather share videos, yes, from my living room instead of on stage in Vegas, where some people were so far gone they couldn't even shake my hand and ended up getting a contact high from weed all the time. Which I didn't mind, but it would have been nice to be able to go to the motherfucking spa. And no, I'm not going to put on heavy makeup and try on stage again and not be able to do the real deal with remixes of my songs for years." The post continues with her taking direct shots at her sister, adding, "And begging to put my new music in my shows for my fans. So I quit. I don't like that my sister showed up at an award show and performed my songs to remixes. My so-called support system hurt me deeply. This conservatorship killed my dreams. So all I have is hope, and hope is the only thing in this world that is very hard to kill. Yet people still try. I didn't like the way the documentaries bring up humiliating moments from my past. I'm way past all that and have been for a long time. And for women who say it's weird the way I still have hope for fairy tales, go f yourself. As I said, hope is all I have right now. You're lucky I post anything at all." Then in response to all of this, many fans believe that Jaymie's recent post was her way of responding. She writes in a now deleted caption, "May the peace of the Lord be with you and your spirit." But then it didn't take too long for Britney to hit back with, "May the Lord wrap your mean ass up in joy today." And then, as if she was refreshing Britney's feed constantly, Jaymie actually went back to her original post to delete the caption that she had written. But fans called her out for it, with one user on Twitter saying, "Jaymie Lynn changing the caption 9 hours later." One thing has become clear throughout all of this though, and it's the fact that Britney certainly does not like her sister Jaymie Lynn. This little feud really goes back a long way as well, and I want to give credit to the Twitter page called Britney the Stan, who did a huge deep dive into all of these shady ways that Jaymie Lynn contributed to her sister being locked into a conservatorship. According to them, Britney Spears and her sister Jamie Lynn have a very complicated relationship because they didn't grow up in a house together. There's a 10-year age gap between them, and Britney was already very famous as her little sister was growing up. In 2006, when Jaymie was cast to play Zoe 101, she also came into contact with a religious nut named Lou Taylor, someone who describes herself as being married to a godly man and being a submissive wife. Well, this Lou character comes into play several times throughout Britney's life as well. Let's take a look at this email sent from Britney back in 2007. In the email, she calls Lou Taylor a crazy lady and a stalker, even asking the person she is sending the message to, "Do you care if I'm dead, because I cannot sign your checks if I am, your client Britney Jean Spears." Then at the height of Britney's troubles in 2008, this Lou Taylor lady started doing interviews with the press and actually referred to herself as the Spears family spokesperson.
And here you have Britney that needs to have some security somewhere, that every single thing she does and every single person she has a relationship with doesn't become an opportunity to be exploited.
The irony of her talking about Britney's safety when she was the one being the security threat that Britney was worried about in that email. The biggest piece of damning evidence against Jaymie Lynn and Lou Taylor here is how involved Lou became in starting this conservatorship, which ultimately benefited Jaymie Lynn Spears. Again, according to that Twitter thread, sources have told the media that Lou Taylor was the mastermind of Britney's conservatorship, but Jaymie Lynn had continued to remain extremely close with her. By 2018, Jaymie was secretly named the trustee of her sister's fortune, and then she attempted to move some of that money into Lou Taylor's old investment firm called Stonebridge. Plus, remember how Jaymie Lynn was saying in her video addressing Britney's testimony that she doesn't need any of her sister's money? Well, Jaymie, then why is it that people have exposed the expense records showing that you used your sister's money for flights? I mean, several times. I know this is a lot of information to swallow, and if you are a fan of Zoe 101, then I am terribly sorry, but the fact that she has been able to lie about this stuff for so long just doesn't seem right. If you watched our video on the dark truth about Jaymie Lynn Spears, then you'll know that she has been feuding with her sister on Instagram for the past few weeks. On top of that, she put out a video defending herself to the Free Britney movement, but many people did not take her seriously. Additionally, she keeps getting exposed for lying, and today you're not going to believe what she did now. Britney Spears fans are exposing Jaymie Lynn Spears right now after her husband was caught in 4K peeping one of Britney's latest Instagram posts. Her husband Jamie Watson can clearly be seen in an image that was posted by Jamie Lynn herself, checking out a post from his sister-in-law. Eagle-eyed supporters of the Free Britney movement noticed that he was looking at this post from Britney that said, "Do you know what really turns me on? What I find incredibly sexy? Kindness." And what fans were upset about though was that her husband was checking out a post that was literally smack dab in the middle of 2 photos of Britney topless. And the Britney Stan account tweeted about this and said, "Not Jamie Lynn's husband checking out the book post in between Britney's tits. How embarrassing." Other accounts online also thought that it was very strange that Jamie Lynn and her husband would be keeping such a close eye on Britney's social media, especially after Jamie Lynn said that she didn't really care about how her sister wanted to live her life, although we all know deep down that she really cares about what's happening right now. Britney is finally getting the chance to talk about how her family treated her in this 13-year conservatorship, and unfortunately for Jamie Lynn, that meant that she too was going to get exposed. If you recall from the Dark Truth video that I did, Jamie Lynn surprised her sister at an award show. And when speaking about that night, Britney said, "I don't like that my sister showed up at an award show and performed my songs to remixes. My so-called support system hurt me deeply. This conservatorship killed my dreams, so all I have is hope, and hope is the only thing in this world that is very hard to kill, yet people still try. I didn't like the way that the documentaries bring up humiliating moments from my past. I'm way past all that and have been for a long time." After that post, it became even more apparent that these two simply can't stand each other. Well, at least we know that Britney can't stand her little sister. More fans pointed out the obsession that Jamie and her husband have right now though with Britney's social media and said, "Jamie Lynn and her husband are obsessed with Britney." Now what's wild here is that all of this only came about because Jamie Lynn was attempting to defend herself against some critics. These critics had slammed her for implying that Britney's Florida condo was also owned by her. In the caption of the post where she accidentally exposed what her husband was looking at on his phone, Jamie Lynn said, "I don't own a condo and I can assure you that no one has ever bought me a place at the beach because I prefer my beach vacations at the Ritz anyways. Simple facts y'all need to stop reaching." Although to refresh Jamie's memory, she did tweet out in 2015, "We have a condo in Destin, Florida and it's the best getaway." So it's not really that much of a reach for people to assume that she was talking about the condo that Britney's money had paid for. This comes just days after a report suggested that Britney paid for a condo that Jamie Lynn has apparently claimed as her own on several occasions, despite her assertion that she isn't on her sister's payroll. However, according to tax documents that were obtained by The Sun, Britney had indeed purchased a condo in Destin, Florida back in 2001 before this conservatorship was put into place. Now at the very least, this means that Jamie Lynn has probably been taking advantage of this vacation home for many years, which is actually something that Britney mentioned during her testimony on July 14th. After her June testimony went so viral, the courts did not allow for the July 14th hearing to be recorded again, although a Free Britney advocate managed to make their way inside and reported that Britney said her family was vacationing in her beach house while she was locked up in the mental facility against her will. "There must be something wrong with you," Britney said Jamie told her as to why she was there. Now what is super ridiculous here is that the first photo of Jamie's husband creeping Britney's profile was later edited by Jamie and reposted before being deleted altogether. Over top of her husband's phone, she added a banner that reads, "He's always working." I mean, if you call keeping tabs on his sister-in-law working, then yeah, I guess he's been hard at work.
Okay, Mom. It has to be okay, Mom.
Oh, thank you, baby.
Many fans of Britney had accused Jamie Lynn of failing to support her sister during this long conservatorship. Especially with Britney calling out her entire family during her testimony, this really put the pressure on everyone that had stood by and watched the horrors that she had described, even telling the court that her arrangement was so controlling that she was not even allowed to marry or have children. Recently, Jamie Lynn posted an audio clip to her Instagram stories where you can hear her sobbing to her 3-year-old daughter Ivy. In the clip, you can just hear Jamie crying as her daughter comforts her saying, "It'll be okay, Mom, it has to be okay." And through her tears, you can faintly hear Jamie Lynn respond saying, "Thank you, baby." And an account on Twitter called Hiatus Britney reposted the audio and shared an interesting take though. On Twitter they said, "Jamie Lynn can be heard crying in her latest Instagram story. Something definitely went down." Adding, "It is extremely weird and forced of her to record herself crying and being comforted by her kid, but it shows that she's desperate because of something. I don't know what it is, but I'm living." Many of Britney's supporters are labeling Jamie Lynn as desperate for posting this audio, but in all honesty she probably posted this to gain sympathy because every time she posted about her sister's conservatorship, she was attacked in the comment section. According to Jamie Lynn, she and her family have had multiple threats against their life mate after Britney had exposed them. Here's the tricky thing with this situation though. I get that people are mad and frustrated with how Britney has been treated treated, but we need to remember that those who don't know history are destined to repeat it. Let's not take all of our frustrations out on Jaymie Lynn, who has gotten to the point of crying on Instagram Live, just because she didn't do everything possible to help her sister. This is a distraction from who the real person in charge is. We have her dad saying that he is Britney Spears, and we have judges that hid certain information from the public eye. There are so many other people that had more of a devious hand in the trapping of Britney that focusing all of our attention on a sibling rivalry would be foolish.
Maybe I didn't support her the way the public would like me to, with a hashtag on a public platform, but I can assure you that I've supported my sister long before there was a hashtag, and I'll support her long after.
Britney Spears' sister Jaymie Lynn is now addressing the backlash she's been receiving over not helping her sister get out of this conservatorship. So for starters, I would like to actually start with a quote from Britney's testimony, and then we'll get right into what her sister is saying about the whole situation. During her testimony, Britney said, "Not only did my family not do a goddamn thing, but my dad was all for it. Anything that happened to me had to be approved by my dad. And my dad acted like he didn't know that I was told I had to be tested over the Christmas holidays before they sent me away when my kids went home to Louisiana. He was the one who approved all of it. My whole family did nothing." That last part is very important because now her sister Jaymie Lynn Spears is trying to make it clear that she has always supported and loved her sister. In the days following Britney's emotional plea for her release from this conservatorship, we heard from most people that actually played a role and benefited from the situation. Everyone from her parents, well, her parents' lawyers that is, to Perez Hilton and even Justin Timberlake. The question on everyone's mind though was, when is her sister going to break her silence on the matter? Even her ex-husband Kevin Federline made a statement, again through his lawyer, and now finally Jaymie Lynn is saying that she wants nothing but happiness for her sister and that she always has and always will support her. In a series of videos that were posted to her Instagram stories, Jaymie Lynn started off by saying, "Hey everybody, I just want to take a second to address a few things. The only reason I haven't before is because I felt like until my sister was able to speak for herself and say what she felt she needed to say publicly, that it wasn't my place and it wasn't the right thing to do. But now that she's very clearly spoken and said what she needed to say, I feel like I can follow her lead and say what I feel I need to say." I mean, at least she's not using legal jargon as well as speaking through a lawyer, but we'll give her that just for starters. But nonetheless, she continues by saying, "I think it's extremely clear since the day I was born I have only loved, adored, and supported my sister. I mean, this is my freaking big sister. Before any of this bullshit, I don't care if she wants to run away to the rainforest and have a zillion babies in the middle of nowhere, or if she wants to come back and dominate the world the way she's done so many times before, because I have nothing to gain or lose either way. This situation does not affect me either way because I am only her sister who is only concerned about her happiness." The main reason Jaymie Lynn was getting a lot of backlash for not speaking up for her sister earlier is mainly stemming from the fact that last August it was revealed that she was named the trustee of Britney's multi-million-dollar trust in 2018. So, trust, she had time, and on top of that, she added that she made a conscious decision to only participate in her life as a sister and aunt to her boys. So you'd think if someone was spending the average amount of time that you would with your sister, let's say, and her nephews, you'd think that she would have witnessed maybe some progress along the way, enough so that maybe she thought her sister should dissolve the conservatorship. But no one decided to even tell her that she could petition to end this thing and reclaim her life. Instead, they just became content with the fact that Britney was building their wealth over these years and not spending any of it on herself. It's also important to remember that Britney also said during the testimony, "Considering my family has lived off my conservatorship for 13 years, I won't be surprised if one of them has something to say going forward and say, we don't think this should end, we have to help her, especially if I get my fair turn exposing what they did to me." Now, while she did name drop her father a few times, I can't help but get over the fact that she constantly referred to her family as a whole. She keeps saying they did this to me, which implies that Jaymie was too afraid either to step in, and her mother probably just sat back while her father ran this whole thing. Just me speculating, of course. But towards the end of her video, Jaymie did express that she will always support Britney no matter what, and that if ending the conservatorship is what makes her happy, she will support that.
Jaymie Lynn Spears has indirectly chimed in about the Free Britney movement that's taking social media by storm. Although very little is known about Britney and what mental health issues she suffers from that are keeping her under conservatorship, someone who would have a better idea is Britney's own sister, Jaymie. right? There has been an update on the Free Britney campaign, where fans are convinced Britney Spears is being held captive against her will. Britney's father has been her conservator for 12 years, which means Britney has no control over her business, finances, or personal affairs, despite the fact that she's done 3 world tours, released 4 albums, and had a very successful Las Vegas residency. Yet Britney has to ask for permission to do everything, as if she were a child. Apparently, her father and lawyer keep track of all of her purchases, and even if she gets a drink at Starbucks, they know about it. She isn't allowed to go get a lawyer and negotiate the conservatorship or her rights, and the exact details of the conservatorship are kept private, as are her diagnosis and treatment plan. In the wake of some pretty concerning remarks made by Kanye West on Twitter, there's a big discussion being had right now about mental health, especially celebrity mental health. Jaymie Lynn Spears has taken to Instagram to join the discussion, posting this tweet by Halsey directed at Kanye West and other people suffering with bipolar disorder. No jokes right now. I have dedicated my career to offering education and insight about bipolar disorder, and I'm so disturbed by what I'm seeing. Personal opinions about someone aside, a manic episode isn't a joke. If you can't offer understanding or sympathy, offer your silence. So after Jaymie Lynn posted this screenshot, she responded to a fan in the comments who criticized her silence surrounding the Free Britney movement. The fan wrote, "How about your sister's obvious mental illness? Why don't you speak on that?" And Jaymie responds with, "You have no right to assume anything about my sister, and I have no right to speak about her mental health and personal matters. She's a strong, badass, unstoppable woman, and that's the only thing that is obvious." I just kinda like thought of something though. Like, why was she reposting something about bipolar disorder? Maybe Britney has bipolar disorder? Is that a possibility? Maybe it's something completely unrelated. Anyways, just a thought. Now, while I agree that we don't know fully what's happening with Britney's mental health, that is kept a secret and it definitely doesn't help the situation. Maybe people knew why she was under a conservatorship at age 38, like maybe we had doctors vouching for the reason, etc. People wouldn't be so quick to judge. She very well could be under a conservatorship for a good reason, but we just don't know the reason. Interestingly, the tweet that Jaymie posted has disappeared from her Instagram. It's likely that the Free Britney movement weren't satisfied with her response. I found the comment reposted on the account Comments by Celebs, and yep, there was definitely some criticism happening in the comments of that post. Here were some of the responses to Jaymie Lynn Spears. "Because she knows there is no mental illness, she's being held captive and they all profit from it. It's dirty as hell and she deserves better." This is actually true. According to a New York Times report, Jaymie Spears made an annual salary of $130,000 and was giving 1.5% of the gross revenues from Britney Spears' Las Vegas residency. Here is a sign from a Free Britney protest that took place on July 22, 2020. "Jail Jaymie, Free Britney, investigate Lou." Next response, "Nah, there is still way too much wrong going on for Brit. Her sister should be stepping in by now, kinda ridiculous. It's not her mental health, it's her fraudulent conservatorship and her father medicating her. That's why we want her to make her own life choices. She is a mother." Next, "She doesn't have to speak publicly about her sister, but I hope she is helping her. Cause there are definitely some obvious signs wrong about the Britney that should not be ignored. And if Jaymie chooses to ignore it, she is no better than her father."